Every now and again, I get hired to do an inspection on a septic system for a real estate transaction. These are always fun because they're regulated. So there's a rule book and there's a procedure for what you need to do. The benefit of this is it makes it really easy whenever something goes wrong for me to say, yes, you have to fix it, or no, you don't have to fix it. Today, though, I want to talk to you about a situation that I came across that wasn't my fault. Let's talk a little bit about it. So I was scheduled to go do this inspection for a septic system. I was told the house was unoccupied, big thing, and that I was going to be using a lockbox to get into the property. I'm a member of the real estate association, so that way I can open those lock boxes. I'm part of that membership, so that way I can use what is referred to as central lock. It's very important that we're members of this, so that way everything's above board, everybody's got a background check, everybody's good to go. With this particular property, I was told to use this lockbox. No problem. I've used hundreds of these things, probably even thousands of them at this point. Go to open the box. As soon as I open the box, there's no key in the box. Of course there's no key. With this type of device, once you open the box, it'll tell you how do you schedule it, who the listing agent is, what kind of contacts there are, procedures, maybe there's a security code, who knows. But like there's these different procedures that this device will let you know about. On this screen, there's an option to say, hey, the key's missing. So I went ahead and hit keys missing and touch base with the realtors. Keys missing are super common. Like if a home inspector takes it or if a previous showing agent took it, sometimes that box doesn't have the key anymore. What does the other side do? Well, they usually get a hold of the homeowner and ask for a spare, and or the listing agent might actually have a spare with them, and then we just get that key and go from there. In this particular circumstance, I touched base with the other realtor that hired me because the listing realtor didn't answer their phone. Shocker, I know. I'm just kidding. A lot of realtors don't answer, so usually what you do is just give them a text and then they'll get right back to you. So I reach out to the realtor that hired me, and he says, hold on, let me go ahead and call the owner. Calls the guy. As he calls the guy, he tells me, oh, they're 5 minutes away, they'll be there in a few minutes. Homeowner shows up. Dude is upset. I introduce myself. I say, hey, it's Nick. I'm here to take a peek at some septic stuff, and we're gonna have a good time doing it. To which he tells me, the other guy never told him I was coming. This is problematic for a couple different reasons. The main reason this is problematic is once you get under contract, you have a certain amount of days to actually get your inspections done before you can no longer back out for the inspections. The other problem with this is the guy still lives there. Remember, I was told this house is vacant and to use a lockbox. Well, the guy still lives there, so I could have been walking in on him while he's sleeping, while he's showering. Who knows what he could have been doing, and he would never have known that I was supposed to be coming. Remember, the Second Amendment exists for a reason, so you got to be careful with just walking into random people's houses. So I don't want to end up in that weird situation. So guy comes over, tells me he didn't know he was coming. He's very upset. I explained my side of things and how I was given the green light, told everybody was above board, everybody knew what was going on. These were the dates and times I was showing up to the property, and we were good to go. From the sounds of it, this wasn't the first time that the person who hired me hadn't communicated with them about different processes during the real estate transaction. When they had the home inspection, the dude was an hour and a half ahead of the schedule that he was originally told. That's a big no-no. Maybe 15 minutes, but even then, if you tell somebody you're gonna be there at 9, you probably should wait until 9 to show up. But it's neither here nor there in my opinion, but an hour and a half is way too early no matter who you ask. I usually am of the mindset to show up on 15 minutes, just so that way you can make sure that if maybe there's traffic or if there's some kind of weird situation, you have a little bit of a buffer time. I'll usually park up the street and wait a little bit and then usually roll in right about 5 minutes till. But every homeowner's a little bit different. Some homeowners want you there crazy early. This one didn't though. So this guy was upset because of how poor communication was happening with the other side and him. I can't blame him because poor communication is really annoying and really infuriating. I think that if you're operating a business or if you're working for a business, communication's super, super important. Whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your business life, whether it's in any kind of relationship type life, you need to communicate. A lot of times the communication's super simple. It's just as easy as just saying, hey, I'll be here at this date. I'll be here at this time. I'm going to do this part of the project. It doesn't take much. It's usually as simple as a quick email or a text. I've learned that just texting somebody saying, hey, I'll be there in 10 minutes, or hey, we have a problem, call me. That usually gets a better response than just calling people out of the blue, because most people don't answer an unknown phone number. Or they'll forget that they have your phone number and then they don't save it, and then they'll be like, oh, It's unknown, even though we've talked 6 times. That's another story for a different day. I may not be a realtor, but I do feel that if you're going to be a realtor, communication should be one of your strongest points, because you have to communicate in order to sell a property, or communicate in order to get the listing, or communicate to get the buyer to sign up for your services. So if you're not communicating well, how are you staying in business? Like, that's my crazy question. I know communication's super important for every business type, but I feel like a realtor, it blows my mind that you don't have communication skills. It makes you look unprofessional. Like I said, I like to reach out to everybody to talk to them when I'm going to be arriving, what I found, what our options are, keep everything on paper, talking, whether it's text, email, phone calls, whatever, making sure people are up to speed of what's actually happening on their particular property and or project. It's just the professional thing to do. Communication solves a lot of problems, because everything in the business world has problems. Something's going to go wrong. It's all about how you deal with whatever went wrong. Usually, for me, it might be a pipe burst, or I found something underground in the septic tank that you couldn't have seen until you started digging. And at that point, you explain what's happening, what happened, and what are the options to fix whatever went wrong. With this saves a lot of frustration and will get you 5 stars. So if you're a contractor and you're trying to get better reviews, communication is the #1 thing to get your ratings up. The last thing with this whole situation is just the irritation factor. Because there was limited communication, no good coordination, even though we were under the impression that there was coordination, the homeowner is now irritated because they had to stop what they were doing to come let me into the house to do something for somebody else who's purchasing their house. It's not their responsibility. Really, it should be the realtor who, if they mess up, they show up to let me in, but neither here nor there. It's irritating for the homeowner, it's irritating for the contractor, but it's also really irritating for the purchasers, because let's say that homeowner didn't let me in, which they have the right to do. If that homeowner said, nope, you weren't scheduled, get off my property, there's nothing I can do about it. I have to leave. And at that point, guess what? You might be out of contingency period. Most of these contracts nowadays are between 3 and 9 days before you no longer can inspect. Let's say that you booked this appointment on day 8 and you had 9 days. Dude tells me to get out. Guess what? I'm already scheduled for day 9. Meaning, if you don't get that scheduled appointment finished, you're not going to be able to get out of the contract if you find out something's wrong on day 11. You could always ask for an extension, but they probably won't give it to you. And rightfully so. If I was the seller and somebody just unannounced, I tell them, nope, not happening. And I probably would deny your extension request. That's why it's important to make sure that you have a responsible realtor. It's also important to make sure you communicate. That's the whole point of this video. This is basically a step into my life. This happens a lot. I get a lot of people who don't want to communicate correctly or don't explain the process to one another, and that does create some headaches. This is only one of multiple days I've had this year where somebody's done something silly. I thought this conversation would be a good time to discuss professionalism as well as what you should be doing in any industry. Like I said, my big thing is communication's key. It's also important to make sure that you're professional, timely, and you're not irritating people. If you keep everybody happy, usually when things go wrong, it makes everything run so much smoother, because things do go wrong. Have you ever had a situation like this happen to you while you were buying a house, maybe selling a house, or even just working? Leave a comment below, share your story. Let's start the conversation. I think these kind of situations are probably more common than most of us realize, and I want to talk about it. Your story might help somebody who's going through a similar situation. So share it below, and I look forward to reading it. Till next time, guys.